Welcome to the Get Inspired with Gerd show, brought to you by Gerd's Handel. Join us each week to be inspired, informed and uplifted with some of the most inspirational and motivational guests from around the world. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay inspired.
Hello and welcome to another show of Get Inspired with Gerd. I'm your host, and today I have an inspirational guest with me who's changing many lives as a motivational speaker and coach. Harper has transformed not only her own life around, she's now helping many young people to reach their full potential and purpose in life. She currently hosts educational and motivational workshops around Texas. Krissica, thank you for joining me on my radio show.
You're welcome. I'm super excited.
Oh, me too. I just loved our conversation last time about life and the universe and how it's so important to, find your true potential in life. And what the first kind of question I wanted to ask you is that, you've learned so much at a young age. Can you tell the listeners what your life was like before you decided to become a coach?
Yes. Really, growing up, I grew up in a single parent household. Dad wasn't around. He was actually in and out of prison. My stepdad, same thing. And I grew up kind of wondering what was I born to do? And it came from really my mom worked very hard, working multiple jobs. Like I said, my dad wasn't around. And so it was just trying to learn about where I came from, who I was. I don't really have a dad. I felt like my dad didn't want me. It felt like, not that my mom didn't want me, but she worked so much. So I just thought maybe she doesn't want to be around me. Like as a young child, that's what I was thinking, even though that's not the truth. But that's what I thought. And so battling through that was hard. Battling through at a very young age, learning about the difference between the haves and the have-nots. And I saw that and I recognized that. And how I recognized it was I was blessed to be able to be a part of, youth events or travel to different states through church or sports. And so when I traveled or when I went to maybe even the other side of town, life looked different for other people besides what it looked like for me. So I'm coming back to my hometown or my community and it's, kind of run down and you see the people walking around the street and you see the dirt and you see everything so kind of in chaos and dirty. And then you go to other places and it's not like that. So then you start to wonder, why do I live like this? And why do other people get to live like this? And so there's that battle. And how I got through that was definitely nothing but the grace of God, but also God giving me an avenue through basketball. So I was able to get some of those kind of negative things that were going on in my life or some mountains that were going on in my life. I reached out to athletics. I reached out to basketball. And so basketball is what helped me out a lot in my life, just getting through some of those hardships that I was battling with at the time as a young person.
So when you were playing basketball, how did you feel in that moment?
I was almost a superhero because I was naturally, I don't know how that sounds, but I was naturally gifted in basketball. So being good at something, even though life was a little chaotic, felt really good. And every time I was battling with something, I would just get my basketball and I would go outside. And it was knowing that something is good in my life. Something is great. I'm really good at basketball. I gained a little attention from basketball. And that's how it made me feel like, you know what? Something is right. This is the right thing in my life. This is the good thing in my life. This is the blessing in my life. This is the gift. And so I put everything into that gift. But I believe it was kind of a blessing and a curse, though, because when you put everything into one thing and you kind of make that thing your God, you idolize that thing. And so for me, when basketball didn't help me in those areas that only God could help me in, then I blamed basketball. I blamed myself. I put the blame on a lot of things because basketball was not that thing that was supposed to help me. I have to, really be cognizant on what I'm putting my energy on and what I'm depending on. And I'm depending on basketball a lot. So that was kind of the negative thing about it, because basketball did not get me through those tough times, really, like I thought it would eventually. And so then that's when like depression and a lot of those things came.
Wow. So I'm guessing it was just there to relieve the pain for a short period of time, but not actually discover what the root cause was that was affecting you.
Right. And I actually didn't realize what some root causes were until not really until it was too late. But I mean, honestly, I just turned 25, and it's been,
oh my dear, it's never too late. It's never too late.
Right. And I was like, whoa, like I'm dealing with some stuff, and it's been hidden through the game of basketball.
Wow. So what was the turning point for you when you decided to transform your life around? Obviously you had, basketball there. However, that wasn't what was helping you to transform. So what was it that actually helped you to just ultimately shift everything?
Right. And I'm pretty sure people, I think they hear this all the time, but the truth can stand alone. I was a sophomore in college, and that's when depression really hit me hard, and I did not know who I was, and basketball was just not doing it. It had been doing it for so long, and I'm just like, why isn't basketball working? Why isn't basketball helping me smile and laugh again? And at that moment, I quit basketball. I was actually a college basketball player. I was playing in college, something that, hundreds and thousands of people want to do, and I was living my dream, playing in college. And I quit my sophomore year, and it was nothing but God, honestly. Like, when you have nothing else to go to, and you just believe and have faith in this God that you've always been taught to believe in faith in. So when you have everyone, I believe, has a turning point in their life where they have nothing to go to but that faith and belief in the creator of all things, the God of all things. Have that belief and that faith in him. That's the only person that I could turn to. And so at that point, that was a turning point in my life, because basketball was not working. People were not working. Alcohol was not working. Smoking was not working. Relationships were not working. So nothing's working. Nothing's healing me. And so at that point, I could only turn to God. And that's when I made the decision to say, you know what, God, I have nothing else. I only have you. And that was the turning point in my life. Now, mind you, I didn't just turn over a new leaf overnight. It was definitely a struggle, because I had to find out who I was. And so I continued to just battle through it and try to, work to get through that hurt and that pain and that depression. But it was definitely a point where nothing else was working. Nothing was working. So that's why.
It's interesting you say that, because like myself as well, as you know, you're so right. It's when you have nothing left to give and nothing left, like you have this feeling about not being part of this world. That's when you realise that's when you need to turn your life around. Because for me, it didn't matter what battles were happening. If my left arm was stopped working, my car accidents where I had short-term memory loss, it was all trying to teach me something, but I wasn't ready to learn. And it was when I kind of gave myself to the universe and said, do you know what? I will just surrender. That's when everything changed.
Right. And that was the same thing for me. It was just like, you know what? There is something that I have to go towards, and I'm just going to believe and have faith that it's this this God, this higher being that says, believe in me and believe and have faith that I am the creator, and I created you to do something amazing. Now turn to me so that I can teach you, or come to me and be open to the teaching of who you really are. And that's what I had to do. Mind you, though, I still went on to get into another broken relationship after I made the decision, and it was still kind of that journey. But I am now at a point in my life where you almost get to the point where in your life where you're tired of running. You're tired of going through the same things over and over again. You're tired of feeling sorry for yourself and going through so many regrets or, just those type of feelings. And you get tired of it. You're tired of making excuses. You're tired of not being where you know you should be. You're tired. Like, it's hard. It's much harder to fail. Like, it's much harder to be a failure than it is to be like, you have to work hard to fail. You really do. I realize that. But, yeah, I just want to be that woman. I want to be the woman that has a purpose, that motivates other people, that helps people. A woman with power to pursue. The power to pursue, the power to make a decision that this is not who I am, and I'm not going to settle for what the world or my circumstances or what I was born into or the things that I saw growing up or the mistakes that I made. I'm not that person. So I'm now making that decision to be that and continue to do that and believe in, what God says that I am, and believe in that.
It's interesting you say that, because we all have the ability to empower ourselves from within, and I think a lot of us don't realise that it's the power of our thoughts and our belief system. If we turn that around and rewire it, we can be whatever we want to be, right?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. Absolutely. Yep.
So, my dear, you're now a motivational speaker and coach. Tell us how you're helping young people to move forward. Yes.
What I discovered was I just had this, crazy idea to believe, right? You have to be crazy enough to believe. And I said, what if, and I'm pretty sure you said the same thing, I think we talked about this briefly, what if I knew what I know now at the age of 15? Like, what if, I'm wrecking my brain, and when I talk to different educators and different people, I'm like, look, I'm bringing some personal development in the building. They're like, they're not ready for that. We have to understand that we're living in 2015, the 21st century, and the world is moving rapidly, and it has always moved rapidly. But the thing is, our young people have access to things at a quicker rate.
Yeah.
Being able to, you can just type in something to Google and they can find it. So it's not that they're not ready for this higher level of thinking. They're ready for anything that anyone throws at them. They have the capacity to understand. We just have to bring it to them in a way that they can understand. They can understand. So I can't come in there talking about, you have the Zig Ziglars and the Brian Tracy's, Les Brown, T.D. Jakes, whoever you listen to. And I say these certain things. They haven't experienced a lot of the stories that I'm saying. They haven't experienced, maybe learning how to be a millionaire. They may have not experienced some of those things yet, but the principles they can apply right now to their lives. And so what I'm focused on is really bringing personal development at a younger age. And you can call it life skills or whatever you want to say, but I'm making it a point to introduce them to people that we're learning from. So we read books, the Think and Grow Riches, or, whatever personal development that adults are reading. I believe that we need to start introducing these things to our teenagers and our young people. Because we have to battle with what they're already learning quickly. We have to go to war with that now. So the fact that they can get on YouTube, the fact that they can get on the internet and find out so much negativity, we have to hurry up and quickly, go to war with that and say, look, I know you're learning this, but this is also out there. So if you're utilizing YouTube, I know you're on YouTube, I know you're on Snapchat, I know you're on Instagram, right? Like, we know where they are. Let's introduce them to higher level of thinking on those same platforms. So that's what I try to do with young people, is introduce them to things that I'm doing. As I'm listening to, there's this a spiritual advisor, speaker, motivational speaker, pastor. His name is Dr. Miles Monroe. He actually passed away, but his level of thinking is amazing to me. And so I actually introduce them to people like that. I introduce 14-year-olds to Zig Ziglar, to T.D. Jakes, to Brian Tracy, to Grant Cardone, right? Like people that, these millionaires listen to, Les Brown.
Love Les Brown.
Yeah, I so, and we talk about the same things that these guys are talking about that millionaires are listening to. I make sure that they know the same thing, and that's where I am when I'm working with young people. That's where I am.
It's so important what you're saying, because it's so true that if we knew what we knew back when we were younger, we would have excelled a lot more quicker. However, it seems like the school system doesn't allow you to kind of think for yourself and think outside the box. And it's beautiful to see that you're helping them to realise actually they have an ability to transform their lives around. Yes, the system might not say that they can. However, you're giving them that other option that actually they can if they just kind of just follow their gut instinct and follow what their inner being is.
Right. Absolutely. And so that's what I just try, honestly, girl, like, I'm learning too. I'm on YouTube and I'm on things trying to learn. And the same things that I'm learning when I go into my workshops or speaking engagement, whatever it is, I'm teaching them exactly what I just learned.
Wow.
Like, because it's not my information. It's not for me to keep a secret. You know, it's nothing is mine. Everything that I get, I'm supposed to give. I'm so like I was talking about earlier, Dr. Miles Monroe, he talks about dying empty. Like, I have to die empty. I have to, everything I learn, everything I bring into my mind and my heart, I have to make sure that I'm giving that to somebody.
Wow.
And not holding that in just for me. So that's what I'm working on developing. I'm working on developing like a personal development curriculum for teenagers, and
amazing,
and bridging the gap between like hip hop culture, you know, celebrity culture, whatever you want to call it, social media culture, and bridging the gap between that and personal development, and putting those two together, and people actually teaching that in creative ways, so we can introduce them from, if you know about Justin Bieber, hey, let's take a Justin Bieber song and flip that joint to like a personal development curriculum for music. Like, I don't know, you know, I have a lot of things in the works, but that's what I plan on doing.
Wow. No, that's unbelievable. Like, so what kind of responses have you received, my dear?
I think it's more so I've repeatedly got the kids are not ready for that. The kids they need to be learning that. Like, do you know what these kids know?
Go on.
Do you know that we have, like, it's so amazing to me, and people, like, we have kind of old school youth. A lot of people that are in the youth department are kind of old school. But people don't understand, you have kids walking down the street that have 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, actually. I agree with you on that.
And not because they're cute or they're funny, but they are very savvy. So what if we taught them how to flip their social media platforms to a business?
So
right?
true.
What if we taught them how to flip their social media platforms to leadership principles? Or, you know, what if we introduce the kids that have 100,000 followers, right? What if that 16, 17-year-old has been introduced to the higher levels of thinking, both spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, whatever? Look at how much influence they have over 100,000 people.
Wow. That is so true. It is.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's not having the kids become like, hey, you need to learn how to be the president of the United States right now at 15. It's not that. It's just giving them, it's just life skills. You know, giving them the information that you and I know we paid thousands of dollars for, the coaching and the workshops and the personal development seminars.
Yeah.
What if all the stuff that we learned there, we gave it to the kids alongside with their math, science, and the things they learn in school? What if they got all that stuff at right now where they are?
They'll be entrepreneurs in the next year or two.
Right, but that's the world we live in. So,
yeah.
But it's okay. We can just say, hey, look, we're trying to build the next, not even just millionaires. You know, that's just a number. Yeah. We're trying to build the next leaders of the world. So if we want the world to be better, we can't just teach adults how to be millionaires or how to be successful people, or how to think like success. We have to now start teaching the young people how to think like success, and they're our future.
Wow. If only you could see my arms at this moment. I have goosebumps all over my arms. It's just unbelievable what you're saying. You're so right. We do need to wake up the younger generation, because what I am finding myself, I don't know about yourself when you go into school, Krissica, but a lot of young people are more depressed now than they ever were before.
Absolutely. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And I even came across, just in my hometown, And we're not talking about a big city. I'm from the country. I know a lot of people are probably like, she sounds so country. Just in my city, I know personally, 4 children within the last 2 years that have committed suicide.
Oh no!
Like that, I don't know them like, hey, homegirl, but I know them. Like I know them close enough to I was able to speak to them a couple times, and they've committed suicide. And you're 14, 15 years old. You're in high school. You're in middle school.
Wow.
So it's not. I understand we have race issues and cultural issues. I understand all that, and I believe that those things will get better. I think those things. I know that I believe and have faith that we will, as a world, get better. But it starts within.
Yeah.
It starts within, and I believe the personal development and the leadership principles and all the principles that we learn as adults, we start teaching those things to children, and I believe we can combat a lot of that depression and things like that. And, these kids go through so much nowadays. They go through so much, and so I understand why it's so hard for them, because a lot of these kids go through more than adults, at an earlier age, and so I understand that. We just have to do our best to reach as many as fast as possible and not think about ourselves and think about the kids.
It's so true, because a lot of them not only are battling just bullying like we went through when we were kids, they're battling social media stuff going on, they're battling also the latest fashions, which, they used to only be 4 times a year. Now there's, I don't know, about 12 or 13 different types of fashions a year. Also trying to fit in, trying to be perfect, even though nothing will ever be perfect. And also the pressure of school and getting the good grades. And I think, like you said, and then if they're going through any emotional, physical or mental abuse or anything, it escalates, doesn't it, on top?
Right. Absolutely.
So, my dear, can you tell me how you help people to embrace their true self?
I believe what I really try to focus on is purpose living and understanding who you are and renewing your mind and not gaining. It's cool to get motivation and inspiration from people. But when you start trying to become like them, I think that's what's detrimental.
Very true.
I got some information from one of my mentors, and she said, it was a specific person that I really adore, and she said, I'm going to share this person with you, but I'm not going to share her too much because I don't want you to start modeling her. And I didn't catch that first. I'm like, what? Like, why? I want to. That's who I want to be like. That's what I want to do. And she said, kind of subconsciously, you'll start trying to become like the person that you look up to. So then you're becoming someone else, and you're not becoming you.
Not being your true being.
Who you are. And so we have to be careful when we talk about, for instance, let's say, Beyonce. She's from Texas. That's a woman that's really successful, someone that I definitely look up to because she worked hard for it. But I can't watch her so much because the way she dances, if I were to be a singer or entertainer or something like that, the way she dances, the way she sings, I can't model everything like her because then I will be like Beyonce. I wouldn't be like Krissica or a motivational speaker. I understand that I'm a little country. I don't speak perfectly all the time, or I don't, do A, B, C, and D. And if we're reading books about maybe how to become a speaker, or which is something I never really, sought out to be, not even a day. I'm just like, I guess I'm a speaker, I guess. But if I try to model so much after so many different speakers, I will start to speak like them and not like me.
Yeah.
And so and I'm saying all that to say, really tap into you, like really sit down, meditate, do whatever you have to do, be by yourself. It's cool to gain inspiration and motivation, but try not to look and watch so many people because you don't want to start being like them because of what they have or what they've accomplished. Really look within yourself. What are your natural gifts? What do you naturally do without really even working hard sometimes? Like, so basketball came so easy to me. I knew that, you know what, I'm going to do something with basketball in my life. You know, even if I stop playing, I'm going to do some type of coaching or training, I'm sure. You know, and that's what I'm doing. And it came natural to me to talk to people. It came natural to me to hear people's life story. And I was so nosy. Like, and so that's a thing. You know, if you're charismatic, or if you're nosy, or if you talk to a lot of people, what you do naturally, this is what I try to work with people on. Try not to copy people. Try not to do what other people do. Look within yourself. What do you do? What is your swag like? You know, sometimes when I'm talking to kids, like Monday, I might be like real cute. Like, girl, I got my heels on. I got my skirt and my dress jacket and my hoop earrings. The next day, I might have on like a simple little t-shirt, V-neck with some jeans, and like my Jordans or my Nikes. Like, but that's me. You know, I could be really prissy on Monday and I want to be a model, but on Tuesday, I want to just be like super laid back, cool, with hoop earrings and my Nikes on. Like, that's me, you know?
It's interesting what you said about the speakers bit, because like yourself, I've never had any speaking training before, and I went to a speaking event a few months back, and what they were trying to do is they was trying to say to you, do not be your unique self, try to follow the system, copy it, then be your unique self. And I thought, wait a second, surely as a speaker you should be your unique self, because that's your selling point.
Right, absolutely. So for me, I just try to be myself wherever I'm speaking, or I just try to be Krissica. Like, I'm a little country. I'm a little left. You know, I love people. I'm a little corny. My jokes are really not that funny. They're hilarious. Like, I'm a little corny and I'm like super serious at the same time. Like, you know, but that's me. And I want to embrace that and I want to be that. And I advise everybody to just be themselves and not be afraid of who they are. Because the world and people, they're going to hate you anyway.
Yeah. Like, people are not going to like you. Some people are not going to like you for no apparent reason. It's so true. And especially when you're on your purpose, you're living with purpose and you're trying to be your true self. People are going to hate you because they're not being true to themselves, and they're going to make you doubt yourself sometimes. However, you've just got to keep going no matter what. So we are coming towards the end of the show, my dear. So what are your 5 top tips for someone who's currently lacking motivation in their life?
I'll go through it. I believe that number 1 is, if you're lacking motivation, understand that we're born not for ourselves. We're born to help somebody else. Like, the reason why you were born for like a higher purpose, like a higher reason. So when you don't have the motivation to wake up, or when you don't have the motivation, ask yourself, if I don't do this, what will happen if I don't get up? And I'm just going to talk about that one point. If I don't get up and read about leadership, if I don't get up and do my meditation, or I tap into my spiritual self, tap into God, if I don't do that, what is going to happen when I'm introduced to the person or the thing that I'm supposed to help? So if I'm not prepared, I can't help who I'm supposed to help if I'm not prepared. So for me, and I have my days where I don't feel like getting up, even today, and I've worked with thousands of kids. Even today, when I don't feel like getting up and doing my reading, if I don't get up and work out, if I don't get up and tap into God and see what God is telling me to do, when I'm introduced to an opportunity, I am not going to be ready for it. That's the thing when we don't feel like getting up, is we're not going to be ready to help or empower the thing or the person that we were born to help and enhance. If something is going on in your community, if something's going on in your school, or on your job, or in your church, or in your ministry or your industry, if something's going on, you got to keep preparing yourself for whatever that thing that you're supposed to attack. And so every day, even when you don't feel like it, and as I'm talking to you all out there that are listening to this interview, I'm talking to myself right now. When I don't feel like getting up, Krissica, you got to get up, because there's a child that's depressed. And so you have to read what you have to read. You have to tap into God and see what he's telling you to say. Because if you don't, and you're introduced to that person, you have that responsibility, and you are you're the reason. If I have to blame myself. That's what I have to do.
Wow.
So when that child needs a breakthrough, and that child is maybe thinking about committing suicide, or he's thinking about running away from home, or that child needs some motivation, you have to say something. You have to be ready. And if you're not reading, if you're not meditating, if you're not working out, if you're not getting your rest, if you're involved in toxic relationships, your mind is not going to be ready to handle your assignment. So it's just like the classroom.
Wow.
You can't pray the day of the test and say, God, please help me pass this test. Universe, please, I really need this grade. You haven't studied. And sometimes God is gonna say, look, I'm gonna help you out. But next time you gotta come, you gotta work with me. God's like, come on, you gotta work with me now. I'm working with you gotta work with me. And I believe that guys, if you're listening to this and you're not feeling motivated, hey, remove yourself from the situation and say, who or what am I assigned to do? And if I'm assigned to do something, I have to do my homework for that assignment. Wow. And every single day, you're taking a small step forward to what you're assigned to do and what you're assigned to be.
Wow.
And that's what I'll say on the motivation tip.
Wow. I have no words, Krissica. Wow. This is why I love you, because you're just so powerful in what you do. You understand yourself, you are helping so many people, and it's just beautiful to see. And we are coming towards the end of the show, so can you tell us where my listeners can find you?
Yes. You can email me at Krissica L Harper, Krissicca, the letter L, and then Harper, HARPER @gmail.com. That's my email address if you want to reach me there. I have an Instagram account and a Twitter account. They are both Coach Krissica, COACH, Krissica, KRISSICA. They're both Coach Krissica. So Twitter and Instagram are the same thing. And then my email address. I'm still working on my social media, guys. So any social media gurus out there, and I know Gertz is helping me. My sister is helping me too, but I'm still working on that. I have a website as well that's getting kind of worked on as well, KrissicaLHarper.com. So we're working. So as I'm talking to you guys, I'm working on myself. So I'm excited to teach you all, but I'm also more excited to learn. And let's all just work together and better each other.
Oh, bless you, Krissica. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in this show. I'm just so proud to be one of your friends, because I know how much this means to you and how much you're helping so many people. And you're definitely a role model in motivational speaking. So thank you again.
Glory to God. Glory to God. Thank you so much. Glory to God. Y'all keep walking in your purpose, believe the dream, and remember you have an assignment. So you have to be ready for that assignment, because someone needs what you have.
Bless you, my dear. Well, keep doing what you're doing, and I'll definitely speak to you soon.
Thank you, sister. Talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
What an absolute inspiration having Krissica on the show. I just absolutely love her. The moment we started speaking, we spoke for about 5 hours on the phone, and it was all about spirituality, knowledge, and understanding your authentic self. And a lot of us are not living from that authenticity, and we must, because that is what our birthright is. That's what we've been given to do in this world. Unfortunately, it is the end of the show. Don't forget that you can find me on Twitter at IamGurds. That's IamGurds. And you can find me on Facebook at Get Inspired with Gerds, where I'll be bringing you lots of inspirational and motivational quotes, videos, and content. And also check out my book on Amazon, which is called 52 Quotes for Leading a Better Life. And this week, I want to leave you with this quote. Follow your bliss and the universe will open doors where there were only once walls. Take care, guys, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Join us each week to be inspired, informed, and uplifted with some of the most inspirational and motivational guests from around the world. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay inspired.